It is time for the Tin Can Radio Program.
Here's the kicker.
Okay.
Exact same date. Literally, the exact same date, except for 58 versus
Except for
24.
the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting whenever my 13th wedding anniversary was on Friday the 13th of 2013.
That's a little different than two storms named the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, some people will pay as much attention to one as they will the other, too, so.
I thought it was very, very interesting, especially since you know what my little beliefs are. You know,
Diane?
about the chemtrails and all that crap.
Yes.
Are you alone?
No.
You're not. How many people do you have with you?
I have two. One may not speak, but I'd have two.
One may not speak. Does that mean that the other one is going to be remaining quiet?
It depends on the conversation.
I have a feeling that I know which one will speak, and I have an idea on which one will not.
I'm sure you do.
Well, it's a very sticky subject. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it is. Hence why everything that I
let them know who's here, huh? Hang on. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, hence why everything that I got as far as speaking about is biblical. Scripture.
Yeah. Always go back to Scripture. Can't go wrong there.
Mm-hmm. Way I see it is, if you don't like the Scripture, argue with God, not me. I didn't write it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that uses that argument that from time to time may not have the proper understanding of what it is as well. I've got
definitions, I've got words, I've got concordance information.
I understand, but I got the humility to believe that, you know, there could be a benefit of the doubt there, too, that I'm willing to let sit there until further examined.
Okay. I can understand that. You know, it's just one of those topics, like when... you know, one of the things I've read about, you know, when somebody passes away and you're trying to console somebody, what was God's plan? Well, that's just a mean thing to say to somebody.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Well, it's cold.
You know, it's just like, you know, whether it is or not, that's not what they need at the moment. And this is one of those topics where...
I agree.
Yeah, this is one of those topics where you can say something not being mean or malicious. It's just, hey, this is what we believe. And
did anybody else watch any of, is it Beckett Cook or... I can't remember. I think I put
Cook,
this.
yeah.
Okay. Did anybody else watch any of his stuff?
No, I didn't have time. I wanted to, but I couldn't get a chance to go on. No, unfortunately.
I did just a little bit, and there has been other sources that I went through and watched and listened to as well, and I have problems remembering just exactly who they were because you usually do more listening and less reading at 65 mile an hour.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So please forgive me on that.
That's where I get most of my time in is podcasts on the way to and from work.
I found it interesting, some of the stuff, you know, in his videos and stuff, especially the fact that he technically is still gay. He just isn't a practicing gay.
Right.
Now we'll go ahead and go off in this direction. There, is the person willing to speak over in Diane's house willing to introduce his or her or them or herself?
Go ahead.
I'll start talking when he starts using actual words.
Boom.
Go on ahead.
What am I supposed to say? I'm your daughter.
What's your name? So we know on the podcast.
You would say my name and say it.
Feel free to introduce yourself and give your name or an alias that you would like for us to refer to you as.
I'm Rose, and I'm
my daughter.
Yeah, I don't want to say your name. That's disrespectful.
They already know my name.
Exactly.
And she is 19. She is 19.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm assuming that she is part of the LGBT community.
Yes.
Yes.
And so is the other person that's in the room, but does not want to speak.
How old is that person?
That person is 20.
Okay.
How long have they been in the community, I guess, or out of the closet or whatever the term is? From a young age? Are they...
I just thought about something. Kenzie, is
What?
that the two
Okay.
special guest?
I knew since I was in
Yeah. Yes, Jamie.
Okay.
She said since she was 13?
Riley came out when she was 13, but she knew since she was in 3rd grade.
So that would have been
Okay.
like 9, 10?
About, yes.
Okay, curiosity question. What made you think or know that you felt this way in the 3rd grade? What was your,
What made you certain?
yeah.
I've never been attracted to any males that were around me.
Okay.
But she's
And
been attracted to females and still not.
Never been attracted to any males around me.
Yeah, the stuff I can.
Okay.
I feel so old. I'm serious. When I was in the 3rd grade, boys were the last thing on my mind.
Well,
Girls
Right.
had cooties.
well,
Girls had cooties, so.
we got to feel old with the guests that we have on here because
I
mean,
do.
we
I
can
feel
use our
ancient.
fingers and toes to count their age, and if we double that, we still don't hit our own age.
Exactly. I'm the nosy. There you go. I'm the
Okay,
nosy.
one of them's 20, so you'd have to do 3 times plus 2 to get
Yeah,
my
exactly.
age.
I hear you.
I mean, I'm 62 years old. So this was in like the 70s when I was in elementary school. And trust me, boys were the last thing on my mind, nor were girls, other than just playing with Barbies or Ken dolls or whatever, you know?
See, that's a big thing that you just spoke about. I'm not
Barbies?
saying. Let me. I'm not looking to disrespect anybody or anything like that. But I think a big thing is what you just said is the times are extremely different.
Yes.
And sexuality has, again, I know Quincy, Clinton was the point of no return for this country when he started with his stuff. That's what I think it really became a public thing where sex became not, I should say not taboo, but not kept quiet about. It was an open thing, even for kids that were, at that time, would have been 10, 11, 12 years old. Things that they were doing.
That was the political event that you believe was the gateway to the development.
It's a gateway of where society took a change and went in this direction of this, everything is okay, I'm cool, you're cool, I'm good, you're good. I don't hurt you, then anything I do should be okay. And I think it kind of went off it's that slippery slope, just like, it's like homosexual marriage. Once you allow that, then what's to stop it from going to the extreme, to incest?
Marrying your dog?
Marrying your dog.
you know.
There you go. What's the difference? It's just that slippery slope. And that was, to me, when I realized, and I was 25 at that, in the 80s, I was 25, 26. To me, that was the point where everything kind of just went crazy.
Well, if people listening hadn't figured out yet from Arthur talking about this spiel here, we are getting ready to discuss the LGBTQ plus MOUSE type of behaviors and circumstances, and we'll see how well we can discuss this, and we'll see whether or not we have any hurt feelings or if we have any greater understanding back and forth in more than one perspective, which the latter is what I'm hoping that we get here. But I will ask, do our special guests have any questions that they want us to hit first thing? If not, then we will default to one of the questions that we had in the chats beforehand.
I feel like just ask questions however you want, right?
Questions are questions.
Questions are questions.
It doesn't matter what order.
Well, do you have any questions for him? No? Okay. Okay. We'll just see where it goes then.
Okay.
All right, Diane, you want us to hit your question first?
What question?
Which one? Yeah, which one?
Which
think the
one?
main
You only had
one-
one question on
Yeah,
there,
you
didn't you?
only asked one.
The nature versus nurture?
Nature versus nurture. What should our view be if somebody was born with the given quote unquote LGBTQ mentality or the gay gene, I guess.
See, that's the first hurdle, because I as a Christian, I definitely don't believe that to God homosexuality is an abomination.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says in the Bible, several places. So for God to go to create a person with those tendencies, it means God creating a sinful person, which I don't believe that he does.
Well,
I mean,
okay,
it's
I'm gonna push back on that because
Okay.
we are all under condemnation. We are all sin, and so if we are all born into sin, it wouldn't surprise me if it was somehow in our genes in places.
Well, wait a minute now. See, now that's something I didn't get a chance to really look up, and I've heard that in the chat.
Okay, well,
What do you mean by born into sin? Now, I mean, there's my understanding of a child or an infant. The sin would be that they are self-absorbed and not focusing on God. That would be a sin. But then again, we went through that age group. Are they really understanding of who God is, and so on and so forth? So being born to sin, if you take in the original sin of Adam and Eve, and that sin is passed down generation to generation,
It's a
that's kind of
rebellion against God and His design.
But not everybody rebels against God. So
yeah, everybody does.
Okay. I mean, so a person who was born
I
into a
would say
Christian family.
But okay, I was born into a Christian family. Didn't start church till I was, I don't know, like 5 or so.
Okay.
My parents couldn't find a church till that age or whatever the thing was, which I just thought was a huge intrusion into my life of being a wild child and doing whatever I wanted on the weekends. So, I mean, I was born into a Christian church. I had a concept of God. But there were still hundreds of ways I disobeyed Him, and I went sideways as a human being and excused it all. Obedience was something that it took me a long, long, long time. I would say that I got confirmed in the church, baptized and everything in 8th grade through confirmation class. At the time I was confirmed and everything, I was pretty sure that Christianity wasn't like the only way to God, and they didn't have it all 100% correct, and there really was no one, really discipling us. We just, you went through the hoops and you did what you did because that was what it was expected of you.
You mind if I ask something real quick, Patrick?
Sure.
While you're at this point in your story, at what point did you get from the point to where you were kind of going along with the way that you were raised to you becoming, from your own mindset, basically atheistic is what you were in your life?
Probably from high school to my early 20s.
So, right? But is that
somewhere in my early?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Was that somewhere? Is that the world? If you said that from as early as 8th grade, when you were, I guess you're a Methodist. If you had,
yeah,
right,
United Methodist, yeah,
Methodist. So it wasn't so much. It's the world that changed your view, not so much your pastor or your mom or your dad, or it was the world got a hold of you. Okay, so that's okay. So again, so that's not.
But that's still me.
It's
still me in open rebellion to my Creator. And there were things that I was highly attracted to as a young teenager, especially growing up in basically the truck stops and on the ports of Southern California. Pornography was just everywhere. And it's easy to justify. And for years, decades, I did. But there was that turning point, which you would call maybe born again, or maybe when God finally tapped me on the shoulder. As I turned 30 or whatever, I realized a line from Ecclesiastes: vanity, vanity. all of it.